Munich station on 2 for EDR2 transfer.
Afternoon, Jazz. Munich is with you on 2.
Hey, how's it going? I wanted to just check for my 1400 activity. I know Andy and Frank did a lot of it, but are you good for me to step into that and just make sure everything's complete?
And Jazz, Munich back with you on 2. Our understanding is your 1400 activity is complete and you're free to pick up with your 2 next Columbus activity scheduled at 16:30. So the Columbus PLDR restore as well as the rack reconfig as your convenience.
Okay, copy. The 1400 is already complete, and just to confirm, you don't need me to check through it to make sure it's all accomplished, and I can proceed to the 16:30 task.
And that's a good readback. We're pretty confident with the EDR2 transfer complete, all tasks, and we can proceed with the next 2 activities.
Okay, copy. I'll do that. Thanks.
1402 for Glacier 2 tray installation.
It's Toshi with you on 2. Go ahead.
Hey, Joe. In the storage note, I cannot locate Glacier desiccant canister bag serial number 004, which is supposed to be in M2 bag 10908. I was wondering if they are in the cold bag or double cold bag or whatever. Other than that, I was not able to locate it. Any alternate location would be appreciated.
Okay, yeah, copy all and give us a minute and we'll see if we can find another place to look.
Thank you, Joe.
Station Huntsville on Space to Ground 2 for Satoshi and Glacier.
Go ahead.
Hey Satoshi, so we are tracking that you will find that inside of that M02 bag, serial number 1098, but it might be stowed inside of a Glacier tray with the Glacier large baffle.
Okay, thank you. And I looked at the Glacier large baffles, and they are almost empty, and I also emptied. I wasn't able to find desiccant bag.
Copy all. We'll check.
Station Houston on 2 for Satoshi, and an unrelated question about the IMV flow measurement serial number.
Go ahead on 2.
Yeah, for the IMV flow measurements, we have a couple of different serial numbers for the probes, and we don't trust all of them. So we were just wondering if you could confirm that you did use probe serial number 1017 for that activity.
Affirmative. I used the 1017 probe for the activity.
Copy, appreciate it, and stand by, we're still looking for words on the desk.
Thank you.
Station Huntsville on Space to Ground 2 for Satoshi and Glacier.
Poseidon 2.
Hey, Satoshi, we're going to need some more time to get you a solid answer for Glacier, so in the meantime, you can stand down from this activity. Also, if you have any desiccant that was removed from Glacier, we ask that you put it back into Glacier at this time. And we will give you a call back later when we have a better answer for you.
Okay, copy, standing down and putting back the desiccants that were originally in the Glacier 2.
That's a good readback. Thank you.
Jaws, Houston on 2 for follow-up question on ammonia cartridges.
Go for Jaws.
Hey, Jaws. We had a quick follow-up question on the crew note you left on the Emer hardware stuff with ammonia cartridges earlier today. We copied, it says ammonia cartridge bags 1013 and 1014 were both already in MLM1, and we were expecting those to both be in MRM1. Curious if they were indeed in the wrong place or if it was just a typo.
It was a typo there in MRM1.
Good news. That's the easy answer. Thanks.
That's to be a station on 2 for Glacier.
We're with you on 2, Satoshi.
Oh yeah, sorry for the confusion I may have caused. I misunderstood that the desiccant kit was also in the M2 bag 10908, but per the storage note, it is in 1.0 CTB 4080, and I found lots of them in that CTB.
All right, that's great news. We appreciate you.
Okay, so is it okay to use two desiccant 2 kits from the 1.0 CTB 4080?
Affirm.
Okay, it worked. Thank you.
Houston Station on 2 for scene and voice check.
Hey, Frank, with you on 2. We are ready for scene and voice. Go ahead.
All right, Joe. Thanks so much. Scene is set up, and here comes time count.
Frank, Houston on 2. Scene and voice look great. We'll be ready to start on time. Houston on 2. Just a heads up for Frank and Andy. We are exactly 30 seconds out from the event. If anyone else needs to call the ground for USOS during the PAO, they can call on 3. Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
Houston ACR, this is Station. We have you loud and clear. How us?
I got you loud and clear as well. Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Naya Hamlet, Superintendent of Chapel Hill Carborough City Schools. I'm so excited to introduce you to our school district right here in the Tar Heel state of North Carolina, where our core values are engagement, social justice action, wellness, collective efficacy, and joy. I can't think of a more joyous occasion than to introduce you to our students who will be communicating with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. And with that, here's our first question.
Hi, my name's Delasia. My question is, how would you describe space?
Hi, Delasia, and also hi, Dr. Hamlet, and to all the students of the Chapel Hill area. Welcome to the International Space Station. Well, I'll tell you, I think I would describe space as both beautiful and unforgiving. It's absolutely gorgeous, the views we get of our planet Earth. And also when you look up and just see the blackness of space, it's pretty remarkable. But it's also easy to forget when you're looking at those beautiful scenes that this is an environment where we just absolutely cannot live unless we have the exact same conditions that we have on Earth. And so it takes a lot of very precise math and an amazing team of ground support that keeps us in space up here. And the fact that we've been doing this for 23 years in this environment is pretty remarkable.
My name is Della, and my question is, can plants grow in space?
Hi, yes, you can grow plants in space, and we've been growing plants in space for years now. Plants play an incredibly important role on the Earth. Not only do they provide us with food and nutrients, but they also use the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and produce the oxygen that we require to live. And so we would love to take advantage of some of those properties here in space first. And so we're testing to see if we can grow plants that we can eat in the future when we return to the moon, and perhaps in the future travel on to Mars. And maybe one day we can even incorporate plants into our life support systems and help them to, or use them to produce oxygen and remove carbon dioxide from the air on board the space station.
Hi, my name is Davis Canterbury. My question is, how does the space station get more air if the astronauts are breathing it?
Hey, Davis, that's a great question. Like Andy was alluding to, and kind of like I said earlier, it's really important that we maintain the environment just like we do on Earth. And so you're right, we do breathe down our oxygen, so it's really important that we be able to produce more. And the way we do that is through a process called electrolysis. And we basically take water molecules and we break them up into both hydrogen and the oxygen components. And we use the oxygen component to breathe. And then the hydrogen we either vent overboard or we use it to recycle some of that carbon dioxide that we need to clean out of our air as we breathe out. We produce methane, and that's vented over. And so, yeah, we're constantly reusing our the elements that we have here on space station so that we can live here and continue to work 24 hours a day, now going for 23 years.
Hi, my name is Juliet. My question was, what was the craziest thing that ever happened on the International Space Station?
Hi, Julia. Believe it or not, we prefer our days to be as predictable as possible with as few crazy things happening up here. But for me, anytime I go to the window and look out at our beautiful Earth, that is a pretty crazy moment for me, especially when I look down and I can recognize different countries, different features, maybe islands, volcanoes. That's always a very, very special moment. But otherwise, we prefer our days to be as quiet and as predictable as possible.
Hi, my name is JJ, and this is my question. What is the temperature like in space?
Hey, JJ. Well, actually, inside the space station, it's pretty comfortable. We keep it around 72 degrees, so it's pretty nice. But outside the space station, the temperature is constantly changing. So we orbit around the Earth every 90 minutes. And so every 45 minutes, it's either daytime or nighttime. And during the day, when we're in the sun, it can reach upwards of 250 degrees Fahrenheit. At nighttime, when we're in the shadow or without the sun, it drops down to minus 150 degrees. So that's a huge difference. And even things that are made out of metal tend to expand or shrink depending on whether we're in a hot or cold cycle. So lots of stress is being put on the station as we cycle through every 45 minutes, daytime and nighttime.
Hello, my name's JP. Question, what does it feel like at liftoff?
Hey, JP. Liftoff is a very, very special moment. Not only is it the culmination of many years of training, it's what we've been waiting for, but it is also an incredible acceleration. We go from standstill on the launch pad on Earth to going 17,500 miles per hour in orbit about the Earth in less than 9 minutes. And so the rocket really accelerates us up to speed very quickly. And it's a very impressive experience.
I'm Katana Cooper. My question is, what kind of food do you eat?
Hey, Katana. So, yeah, we have different kinds of food. Some of our food comes in little green packets like this, like MREs, military MREs. And this food is pretty much ready to go. Some other food comes in these little white packets, and the white is really just meant to protect it from radiation and temperature changes. And then you open it inside, and you have dehydrated food. And we basically take the water out, and that's just to make it weigh less because it costs a lot of money to launch things into space. And so we get these little packets, and then we add water. So a really interesting part about the water is that, again, remember we recycle everything that we can here in space. And so the urine that we produce every day gets turned into drinking water the next day. And it's a very, very clean process, and it produces perfectly clean water. And so then we inject the water into this, and 10 or 15 minutes later, it's food that's ready to go. But we also have some things that you guys probably recognize, M&Ms, right? And so these come in the same little white packets, and I'm going to open those up. And Andy's going to help me make sure that they don't fly too far away. So the cool thing is you get to play with your food in space, which is a lot of fun.
Hi, my name is Quincy. My question is, how much do you sleep?
Your mic is turned off.
Hey, Quincy. Sleep is incredibly important, both on Earth and in space, to maintain a healthy body and a healthy mind. And so we try to sleep as much in space as we do on ground, which means 7 to 8 hours a night. Usually it's a little bit less here in space, but we try to sleep at least 6 or 7 hours every single night.
Hi, my name is Jessica Chenis. My question is, what do you do for fun?
Hey, Yiska. Well, it is really important to have fun because we do work a lot up here. We work from 7 a.m. to about 7 p.m., but then we have some time off, and usually on the weekends we also have some time off. So a lot of times we'll just hang out with our friends and just kind of spend time together, and that's actually a lot of fun. Playing with our food, like you saw, can be a lot of fun. And then we'll do things like watch movies together. We have a projector up here, and we'll roll out a little screen that we have, and we'll hang out and tie ourselves down so we don't float up and away while we're watching the movie. And we'll hang out and just watch movies together. But yeah, that's about it. Looking out the window is really one of the most fun things you can do up here.
Hi, my name is Davis Ferrar. My question is, how does a spacesuit protect you?
Hi, Davis. Well, on the other side of these walls, on the outside of the space station, there's vacuum, which means that there's no air at all, which also means that we humans can't breathe out there. And so a spacesuit has to provide us with everything that we need in order to survive in a vacuum, which means, first of all, it has to provide us with an atmosphere with the proper amount of pressure and, of course, oxygen to breathe. At the same time, the spacesuit has to remove the carbon dioxide that we produce when we exhale, because otherwise we could suffocate on that carbon dioxide. The spacesuit also has to keep us at the right body temperature, which often means removing the body heat that we generate because we're working so hard outside when we're on spacewalks. And so the spacesuit has a lot of different functions to perform in order to keep us alive during a spacewalk.
Hi, I'm Susie Bursley, and I was wondering how you connect with friends and family in space.
Hey, Zuzu. Well, staying in touch with our loved ones is really important to all of us. And so there's several ways that we can do that. We can do video conferences every once in a while. We can do VoIP, or Voice over Internet Protocol, phone calls through the Internet, which we have access to most of the time up here. And then all of that is made possible through a network that NASA has of both satellites and ground-based antennas. And basically, our calls go through satellites down to the antennas, get channeled over to Houston, and then from Houston, they go out through telephone lines, just like all the phone calls that you make. And so we're able to stay in touch with family and loved ones almost every day, which is pretty special.
Hi, my name is Judah Tonkin, and I go to McDougall Middle School. My question is, what is the most important part of the space station, and what do you do if it's malfunctioning?
Hey, Judah. Well, that's a very difficult question to answer because there are so many critical components up here. But certainly one of the more important systems is a life support system, which keeps us alive, which basically produces the conditions on board the space station that allow humans to survive up here, which means keeping the air pressure within normal range, the same air pressure as you have on the ground, an oxygen content of around 21%, which is what we need to breathe, and systems to remove carbon dioxide that we produce when we exhale. And of course also ventilators that blow the air around. Something that's very unique about being in space is that when you're weightless, air doesn't mix. So hot air in space doesn't rise because without gravity you don't have buoyancy. And so if we didn't have air conditioners and other ventilators to continuously mix the air up here, everything would just remain where it is, which means that the carbon dioxide that we exhale could form a bubble around our heads, and we could actually suffocate in our sleep, for example. And so we have ventilators that have to mix the air continuously. So there are many, many different critical systems, and we're constantly maintaining them and repairing them if they break down.
Hi, my name is Kayla, and my question is, what is the process to becoming an astronaut?
Hey, Kayla. Well, those of us that are lucky enough to have this job consider ourselves incredibly blessed. It is a very competitive process, but the very first step is just applying, because you never know if you're going to get the job unless you apply. So right now, you currently have to have a master's degree in a STEM field, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And we do require a master's degree in that, but you can also have other experiences like being a teacher or being a military pilot with a certain amount of experience. And all those things combined, really what we're looking for is people who work really well in teams, who are able to handle diverse operational environments and handle those high-stress situations well and continue to perform, and somebody who can think on their feet and handle problems. And so if you have those qualities and you have the basic requirements, we would love to someday have you on our team.
Hi, my name is Leela, and my question is, when was your first mission and how did it make you feel?
Hi, Leila. Well, my first mission was in 2015, so 8 years ago now, and it was a dream come true. I've been dreaming of being an astronaut ever since I went to 4th or 5th grade. It's been a lifelong dream of mine, and so for it to finally come true in 2015 was just phenomenal, and I was so excited to be up here. It was a relatively short mission, just 10 days long. This is my second mission. I'll be up here for 6, maybe even 8 months, and it's something that I'm also looking forward to, because this time I really get to feel what it means to live and work in space.
Hi, my name is Brecken Harris, and my question is, what are the daily projects and activities you complete in the International Space Station?
Hey, Brecken. Yeah, so one of the most fun things about being up here is that every day is very different. But in general, like I said, we work for about 8 to 10 hours a day. 2 hours we also do exercise every day, because that's really important to maintaining our bone, cardiovascular, and muscular health while we're up here. And then the other times, we're working on science most of the time, because this is a national and international laboratory, and so we have a whole variety of different science projects that are constantly running here. If anything breaks, we have to fix it. We do have an amazing ground support team that walks us through every step of the way on how to fix those things, but we're essentially the hands and the eyes for those repair jobs. And then sometimes we just have to replace things because they've reached their age limit. And so between all those different activities, they kind of plan your day every day down to the last minute till we make sure that we optimize our time up here. But the cool thing is, like I said, every day is different, and you get to experience a whole lot of new things every day.
Hi, my name is Tate Simone. My question is, what advice can you give to students looking to get into aerospace careers?
Hi, Tate, and I love your question, because before becoming an astronaut, I was an aerospace engineer. It's always been a fascination of mine. You know, the best advice I can give you is study physics and math in school. Aerospace engineering and basically anything to do with aerospace is applied physics and applied math, and so a good solid foundation in that is incredibly important. But otherwise, you have so much to look forward to. I truly think it's one of the most exciting careers you can have working in aerospace.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rodney Trice. I am the Deputy Superintendent of the Chapel Hill Carborough City Schools. As we wrap up today's events, I'd like to say a few words of gratitude. It was such a wonderful experience for our students to learn about what astronauts do in space. I know I was inspired, and I know that our students were inspired as well. On behalf of the Chapel Hill Carborough City Schools, I'd like to send a heartfelt thank you to our NASA partners for creating such a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Trice, and thank you to all the students, and we hope to someday see some of you with us up here.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications. Austin Houston on 2 for Frank and iPad suggestion. And heads up, we are about 2 minutes out from a 5-minute LOS.
Joe, with you on 2.
Hey Frank, since you're working with iPads, we thought we'd give you some words for another troubleshooting suggestion for Kostya's iPad if you're ready to copy.
Yeah, hey Joe, unfortunately I'm probably not going to have time right now. This activity is taking way longer than planned, mostly because I can't find the power cords that at one point we had consolidated, so I'm still looking for those. And then I'm going to have to start some prep for the PAO event. But I will catch you after that.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's no rush on this one. And we were talking down here about that PAO event. We don't have a scene and voice check scheduled for it, and we don't need the scene voice or the scene since it should be set up. But we would take a voice check whenever you get over there and you start getting set up.
Okay, we'll do for sure. And then, do you know if it'll be on VC on the way up?
Negative, it will not be on VC.
Okay, thanks. So voice only, is that correct?
That is affirmative.
Okay, thanks so much. Houston Station on 2 for iPads.
Frank, with you on 2, go ahead.
Hey, Joe. So 1050, 1090, 1094, and 1096 are on CrewNet. I can't find 1095. iPads 1103 and 1055 were with the other ones, but no joy on 1095.
Okay, we copy all. We're talking about it.
Okay, and we may just have to reschedule. I've got 30 minutes already into this activity, so like I said, I may try to come back after the PAO event, but I do have exercise after that also.
Yeah, no issues with that, Frank. Go ahead and stand down from this and get a little time to relax before the PAO event.
Thanks, Joe.
Frank Houston.
Houston, station on 2, forcing voice check.
Hey, Frank, with you on 2. We're exactly 2 minutes out from the event, and we will take the 10 count, please. Frank Houston on 2. The voice sounds good. We are hoping to get a little more you in the shot, so you can either scoot forward a little bit or zoom in the camera, whichever you prefer. And heads up, we are 1 minute out from the event.
Okay, copy. 1 minute out. How's that?
Looks great, Frank. We will start on time. 45 seconds.
Thanks, Joe.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
Hello, Administrator Nelson. This is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Hey, Station. This is NASA Headquarters. Bill Nelson and Pam Melroy here. How do you hear me?
Senator Nelson and Pam, welcome back to the space station. I have you loud and clear. How do you hear me?
Hey, we hear you great. Frank, you've made all kind of records up there, and you've had 6 months that you didn't expect. How are you feeling?
Hey, sir. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was unexpected. In some ways, it's been an incredible challenge, but in other ways, it's been an incredible blessing. And so, you know, I count myself lucky and honored to be able to represent the agency and our country. And yeah, looking forward to getting to 365 finally. I think that'll be a really good milestone for our nation to achieve.
So you've got the replacement crew that's about to come in a few days. Then you all will be going home. Will you get to see your family when you land in Kazakhstan, or will they be reuniting with you back in Houston?
Yes, sir. Well, I'll get to see my CB family in Kazakhstan, but unfortunately, I won't get to see my wife and kids until I get back to Houston. But it'll be good to see some familiar faces in Kazakhstan for sure.
Pam?
Yeah, speaking of your wife and kids, they've been on my mind so much this last year. I can't even imagine. When you launched, you thought you were going to be up for about 6 months or less. And now it's extended, and I know they've been tremendously supportive of you. I just want to ask, I hope there's nothing critical that you planned on being home for that you've missed. How have you been able to support your family from space?
Hey, Pam. Well, first of all, thank you so much for thinking of us. And yeah, you know, there were some actual, I mean, this was a big year for us. We had our oldest finish off her plebe year at the Naval Academy, and then our second, our son, headed off to West Point. And so yeah, just big challenges as they apply for and start off their college and young adult careers. But at the same time, you know, we felt some incredible love and support and just the prayers from our family and friends, our community. They just came around us and supported us. And honestly, seeing the support that my family was getting made it so much easier to be up here and focus on the mission because it just took that weight off my shoulders. And, you know, it was also, like, as much as it was a challenge for me as a father to miss all those things, it was also a pretty proud moment to see Deb and the kids just thrive and overcome. And I'm sure they missed me, but at the same time, you know, we all took on the challenge together, and it was just really neat to see them just have a great attitude throughout the past year.
Hey, Frank, tell everybody how you can communicate so frequently with your family. It's quite a contrast to the space shuttle when we flew, and I flew way back. They wouldn't let us talk to our family. Now, our family could listen to the communications going on, but of course, we were only up a week, a short duration. You're up there for a long time. Tell about that communication.
Yeah, the communication really is key. So when we first got up here, we had the voice over internet protocol telephone calls that we could pretty much make a phone call anytime we weren't working and we had KU availability. And then a few months into our stay, we started developing a video conferencing capability, and then that became more and more robust and something we were able to enjoy. So really for this last half of the mission, at least a couple times a week, I was able to do a video conference with my family, which was huge because it just helps you stay so connected to obviously talk to them, but then to see them, I think just changes the whole paradigm, and it was really pretty special to be able to do that.
That's great. I just have to ask, do they love seeing you floating in zero G? Do you do backflips to entertain them?
Yeah, you know, it was really pretty cool to show them around. As you guys know, once you're up here for a little bit, you really get focused on the work, and sometimes you forget to appreciate the fact that you are floating around and that you have this amazing view down below you. And so every time I would show them around, it was pretty special because they would remind me. Also, the other thing that it kind of you lose track of is the hum of all this life support equipment, right? And it's just constant noise, but you tend to just drone it out. And when I would hear myself on the video conference, you hear that background noise, and it just reminds you that it's there. And again, just reminds you of how complex this entire station is, and what an incredible feat it is that we've been living in this thing for 23 years.
Tell us about some of that work. Tell us about the science that you're doing.
Yeah, it's been really pretty special. You know, we've been really busy this past year. Some of my favorite science, obviously, as a doctor, is the biological sciences. We've done some plant experiments, grew the first tomatoes in space. We've done some genetic studies on plants, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how that turns out, because it's looking at, hey, the adaptations that plants develop in space, are they able to pass that on to subsequent generations? And so I think that'll be pretty cool science. We did the first 3D printing of human tissue up here in the biofabrication facility, and that was pretty cool to both run and see. And then the material science was also pretty special, doing some of the fiber optics development that we did up here, the electromagnetic levitation facility, yeah, really the combustion chamber. I've been, the one thing that you do get to do as the more time you spend up here is you get to have hands-on on just about every part of the station. And so I count myself pretty blessed that almost every single experiment we've had up here I've been able to take a part in.
That's absolutely amazing. I mean, when you think about all the different things that you just talked about, and all the different things that are, you know, the fiber optic is going to, you know, have a potential transformation for commercial. But I think the human part is very compelling, and it's great to have a doctor on board. But I do have one question for you. Did you eat the tomato?
That's hilarious. I don't know who put you up for that, but I did not eat the tomato, and I wish I had at this point because I think everybody thinks I did. And and it just perplexes me. I spent so many hours looking for that thing, but as you know, sometimes you lose things up here, and despite it being a relatively small size, it's amazing how you lose something and then you just never see it again. But I'm sure the desiccated tomato will show up at some point and vindicate me years in the future.
Hey, Frank, tell our audience about how it ended up that you had an unexpected 6 months more.
And sir, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that question, please?
Yeah. You ended up staying 6 months more in space on board the station than was originally planned. Let everybody know what happened.
Sure. Unfortunately, our Soyuz spacecraft developed a leak, we think through a micrometeorite strike in the coolant system. And unfortunately, the spacecraft was essentially intact, but we weren't really sure whether we as a crew would be safe in our return. And obviously, that's a critical component, not just to our safety, but also, and perhaps more importantly, to the computer systems that manage our re-entry. And so because of that, both NASA and Roscosmos came together. And again, as much as it was a challenge to stay an extra 6 months, I'm so grateful that the agency was able to say, hey, you know what, the safe thing to do would be to fly up a new spacecraft and have them wait and ensure a more safe return. And so, again, I count it as an incredible blessing that we have the capability to do that and that all parties involved were willing to do that. And so because they flew up the new spacecraft, we had to essentially backfill the mission that crew would have been filling, because they had to fly that spacecraft up empty, because we all have to have a safety vessel essentially to be able to go home in case of an emergency. And so they couldn't fly up both a replacement crew and our ability to have that safety ship. And so again, it's been a challenge, but I am looking forward to a return in a more safe and more secure spacecraft here in a couple of weeks.
You know, you not only have set that record, but it is also timely because it's Hispanic Heritage Month. And you, as a Hispanic American, symbolize the diversity of the wonderful, rich fabric of America. Give us a message on this month's celebration.
Yes, sir. Well, it is very special timing, and actually I came up last year in the same month of September, and so it's been a unique sandwiching of my time up here. And it's really an honor to represent both our country and my Latino community. And I love the fact that America is becoming more diverse, and I think because of that diversity, we bring different ways of thinking, different backgrounds, and really what that gives us is more unique perspectives on problem solving, right? And as we face bigger and more complex problems in the future, especially as we take on the challenge of human spaceflight deeper into our solar system, I think those unique perspectives are going to provide amazing and different points of view that will help us solve problems in ways that we can't even imagine right now. And so not just to Latinos out there, but to all of Americans, man, I can't wait. As a parent to 4 young kids, I've seen what this younger generation is capable of, and I think our nation's going to be in good hands, and I can't wait to see what these younger generations, the lengths that they'll take our country to, and I think it's going to be pretty incredible to watch.
That's just awesome. That is such a fantastic message. I do want to go back to say that I know what a big deal it is for you and your Russian colleagues to stay for an extra period of time, but it also gives you kind of a unique perspective. I mean, the station has changed actually because the crews have changed. When you got up there, Crew 4 was aboard the station. you have seen crews come and go. You have welcomed them and joined with them, and then you've had to say farewell. And now it's your turn coming up. How is that different, and how is that making you feel?
Yeah, Pam, thanks so much for that question, because one of the biggest, really my favorite part of being up here, and I think the most special part to me, is the fact that I've been able to fly with, by the time Laurel's crew gets here, it'll have been 28 other people that I've spent time in space with, which, if I do the math right, that's almost 5% of the humans that have ever been to space, which is pretty incredible. And my NASA crewmates have been just absolutely outstanding. I've been able to fly with almost half of my classmates, which, as you know, flying with a classmate just has a pretty unique feel to it, and pretty special. And so, honestly, I couldn't have imagined that I would get to fly with half of my class. And then the international partners, starting with Samantha, an Italian astronaut, and then Koichi and Soichi, both Japanese astronauts, Sultan, an Emirati astronaut, and then Axiom brought up Ali and Ray, who were Arab astronauts. And so just having that diversity up here was just such a unique feeling. And of course, Sergey and Dmitry and their families, they're the only other people that really understand what this challenge was like. And so we'll have that brotherhood and that bond for the rest of our lives. So again, it's just been an incredible experience. And all of that, the crew has been incredible. But then we've also been able to see and feel the incredible support that the ground team provides. I've been able to work with some just absolutely outstanding flight directors. The flight control teams have been outstanding, and the support staff that just make sure that we have everything we and our families need to function at a high level up here. So just that whole experience of the NASA team and the international partner teams have been the most unique and the most special experience for me.
Frank, how many hours a day do you work out physical training in order to keep your body functioning in that very unique microgravity environment?
Yes, sir. They schedule us for about 2 hours a day. About an hour and 15 of that is on the ARID machine, which is a resistance machine, essentially what we would consider weightlifting down on Earth. And that's because obviously our bone density is one of the things that we most quickly lose up here, and that's because we're not standing, we're not walking, and that provides a lot of the impact that our bones need to maintain their health. And so that resistance training provides some of that resistance to our bones and keeps them strong. And then we also have cardiovascular workouts for about 30 to 45 minutes a day. And we can do that on either the stationary bike or on the treadmill. And so the combination of those things, I think, keep us pretty healthy. Honestly, I've tried to be pretty diligent about that because I want to be as functional as possible when I get back. I'm actually pretty excited. Again, as a doctor, I'm really excited to see how my body does when I return. I feel like I've stayed at a pretty high level up here, so it'll be interesting to see what those first couple of days feel like when I'm back on Earth.
Wow, Frank, you've had so many experiences in your life, at the back at the academy, you were on the jump team, then you were a helicopter pilot, you went through medical school, and then of course astronaut training, and are now on orbit. So you've had all these amazing experiences. Maybe you can share what has been the most difficult part and also your favorite part of the mission.
Yeah, no, I've been blessed with some pretty incredible opportunities throughout my life. I think the most difficult one, again, is pretty easy, just the separation from family. That's been a challenge. As much as every day up here is different, right, because you're doing different maintenance, different science, there is some monotony to it, right, as far as every day the schedule pretty much looks the same. And then, again, we have some of the most absolutely beautiful and stunning scenery you could ever imagine. But inside the station, you're pretty limited to about a 5-bedroom house. And so psychologically for a year, that was a little bit of a challenge, but my crewmates were absolutely key to that. Just getting to know each other better, spending time together, telling lots of stories. Having Steve Bowen up here, it was actually pretty special because we were able to hear a lot of shuttle stories. And as much as we made fun of him for that, for me, that was a pretty, it was neat to listen and learn. Having spent some time with Peggy, and what she's meant to human spaceflight, that was also pretty special. So yeah, I'd say those were some of the most challenging components, but also my favorite because it involves the people.
Frank, anybody watching this is just absolutely amazed, and especially the young people watching this. So as we close out, why don't you give a message to the young people of planet Earth, especially those of Hispanic origin?
Yes, sir. Well, thanks again for that opportunity. And again, it's an honor to represent our nation, to represent NASA, and the various communities that we represent up here. And I would just say, keep working hard, have big dreams, but start acting on those dreams as soon as you can. Really, the hard work and the dedication are the key components to making those dreams come true. And as much as possible, be kind to others and surround yourselves with good team and good teammates, because ultimately there's very few things in life that we accomplish individually, and almost everything big that we accomplish as humanity requires incredible teamwork. And so try to surround yourself with good people and go out there and do great things.
That's beautiful, and we thank you. Bless you, Frank. We'll see you when you come home.
All right, sir. Thanks so much for your time, Pam. It was an honor to spend some time with you all, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants from NASA headquarters. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
Joe, we copy last. Thanks so much for the support.
No problem, Frank. Another good PAO event. Thank you.
Thank you. And I am ready for those next steps for Kostya's iPad.
Okay, yeah, I've got one suggested troubleshooting step. It's a pretty quick one, but I know you do have a bunch of exercise coming up, so I can pass it up, and then you guys can decide amongst yourselves who wants to go and attempt the recovery of the iPad.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so this step is documented in that same procedure 5.504, but it's not too complicated, so I'm just going to read it out for you, and then let me know if you want me to give you the reference too. So what you do with the iPad is you quickly press and release the volume up button, then quickly press and release the volume down button, and then you hold down the sleep-wake button for at least 10 seconds.
Okay, I understand. Quickly press and release up, then down, and then press and hold the wake button for 10 seconds. And is the wake button essentially the power button on top?
That's affirmative. And if it works, we expect you should see the Apple logo appear.
Okay, I'll go give it a quick try. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, no response required. Let us know how it goes. If that doesn't work, we are looking at an option to just swap it out for one of the floaters, and then we'll start working a plan to make sure we have one ready for Laura when she gets there.
Houston Station on 2 for iPad.
With you on 2, go ahead.
Joe, good news, it worked. Just for future reference, though, after you press and hold the power button, it does take about, and you release it, it takes about 30 seconds to respond. So I was actually getting ready to call you and tell you that it didn't work. And then the Apple logo turned up, and then now it seems to be functioning normally.
Okay, yeah, we copy all, and that's good info. So unless you disagree, we think that iPad should be in good shape now, and you can hand it back over to Kostya whenever is convenient.
Okay, copy all, Joe, and we'll do. Hey, just out of curiosity, is there any sort of action that puts it into this mode, as far as like something he may have inadvertently pushed or done that would get it into this mode?
Not that we're aware of it, but we will put some brain cells on that.
Okay, and I asked just mostly so we can kind of brief each other on it and make sure none of us repeat it if possible.
Yep, copy all, and that makes sense. And while I have you, I know you're getting ready to start exercise, so this is really for any available crew member between now and DPC. We do have some forward options for locating the iPad 1095, and then also a couple of quick troubleshooting options for that Surface Pro that we were not able to get to charge with the cable, estimating that's probably about a 5 to 10 minute activity.
Okay, understand, and I will give you a call back here shortly for the iPad, and then we'll see who's available for the Surface Pro.
Copy all, thanks.
Station Huntsville on Space to Ground 2 for all crew. No response required. Astrobee live streaming and video will turn on and begin at 16:45. That's 2 minutes from now.
Station on 2 for iPad.
With you on 2, Frank, go ahead.
All right, Joe, now that I found my missing iPad, I am ready to copy the words for finding the other missing iPad.
Okay, yeah, so again, that's 1095. The first place to look is CASA. That's our best bet. And if that doesn't work, we think you can actually use the barcode reader and play hide and seek with it. And I have a barcode for you that you can copy. It's pretty long, though, so I'd recommend checking CASA first.
Okay, yep, unfortunately, well, I'll go double check, but I was in CASA earlier today as part of the rack mover in. I just took a look in there, and I was not looking for an iPad, but I'm taking it out, so I'll go check real quick. And Joe, real quick, so was that assigned to Woody, I'm guessing, based on the CASA reference?
Checking. Frank Houston, that's affirmative. It was Woody's.
Okay, thanks.